morning, good afternoon, good evening. I've said on this platform that Zimbabwe is a failed state. And the root cause of it, the failure to hold free, fair, and credible elections. So that we've been stuck with this same corrupt, incompetent, and tyrannical Zanu PF regime for 45 years and counting. I totally agree with that notice. Stolen election is the cause of our problems. It is the cause of our problems. At the present moment, there is a lot of hype about stopping ED2030, stopping Zanu PF tampering with our constitution. We want to protect our constitution. It's all very well. But ask yourself, will stopping Mnangagwa extending his rule beyond 2028 stop end our problems? The answer is no. If Zanu PF can rig the 2028 elections, and at the present moment, that is exactly where we are going, because not even one token democratic reform has been implemented. And so if Zanu PF rig 2028 elections, guess what? We will have, yes, not Mnangagwa, but another Zanu PF dictator. How anyone can see that as progress beggars belief. Because this is exactly what happened in 2017. The people were passionate about Mugabe must go, and he did go, but only to be replaced by another Zanu PF dictator. The same one now, they're desperately trying to get rid of. So I repeat, until we finally cure ourselves of the curse of rigged elections, this is the elephant in the room. Nothing in Zimbabwe will ever change. And those who want to pretend that stopping ED, extending his stay in power beyond 2028, stopping Zanu PF, tampering with the constitution is the number one priority for the nation, they're just kidding themselves. We can achieve all that, and as long as Zanu PF is able to rig 2028, we will have a Zanu PF dictator in power. And we'll be where we are now. With our fingers crossed, hope he'll be better than Mnangagwa. Just as we had our fingers crossed that Mnangagwa will be better than Mugabe. It is interesting to note here that many of the individuals who are now taking up the cause to fight to end ED2030 are themselves key players in the last 25 years of Zimbabwe politics. They failed to implement even one token reform to end this case of rigged elections. Not even one, even when they had the golden opportunity to do so during the GNU. Worse still, they are the ones who have been conning people to participate in flawed elections to give Zanu PF legitimacy. Even when they knew that Zanu PF was rigging the elections and that participating will give Zanu PF legitimacy and perpetuate the dictatorship. I want you to ask yourself, as much as these individuals are coming forward to say they're fighting to stop ED2030, will they also push the agenda to end the case of rigged elections? My view is no, they won't. They are quite content to champion the fight to end ED 2030, to champion the cause to stop Zanu PF amending the constitution, but they will not go the extra mile and stop the case of rigged elections. They will not do what is necessary here to end this case of rigged elections. And at the present moment, we cannot stop Zanu PF or we cannot force Zanu PF to implement any meaningful reforms. What we can do is make sure that people do not participate in their millions as they've done ever since the failed GNU. Because we already know that if you participate, you give the process legitimacy. This is a historic fact, which the likes of David Coulthard have admitted soon after the 2013 elections. This is what David Coulthard said in his own book, admitting that the case of participating in flawed elections is self-defeating. You're only giving Zanu PF legitimacy. But he explained in that book why he and his colleagues continue to participate. And the reason is very clear: greed. So the same individuals who are now championing to fight ED 2030, will they this time contain their greed and not go on to participate in 2028 for a share of the spoils of power? My answer to that one is I don't see why they would stop this time. They've known this all along, and they've always participated. So why should they stop now? I repeat, stolen election is the cause of our problems. We have kicked this can down the road for 45 years and counting. When are we going to get to our senses and say enough is enough? Let's deal with this problem because only until we have dealt with it is there going to be any hope of the country ending the present dysfunctional political system. So what is my message? The focus should be, we don't want stolen elections. Yes, stopping ED2030 is important. Yes, stopping Zanu PF corrupting the constitution is important. But it is not the number one task we should be focused on. I believe Zanu PF, Mnangagwa, is deliberately making this a big issue. All these party resolutions is to distract the people's attention from the fact that he is doing nothing to implement the democratic reforms necessary to ensure future elections are free, fair, and credible. While the people fight to stop him extending his power, they are forgetting that without reforms, the nation is stuck with this problem of stolen elections. We should forget, even if we were to fail to stop him with his ED2030 agenda, if he was to find some other way of changing the constitution without going to a referendum, it will not matter if come 2028, he rigs the election and Zanu PF is denied political legitimacy, as happened in 2008. The regime will then be forced to go into a GNU. That new GNU will be totally different from the 2008 to 2013. Zanu PF knows that. That GNU will implement the democratic reforms. And that GNU will never accept Mnangagwa to preside over just because you are able to tamper with the constitution. So if we can address that issue when we have addressed the issue of stolen elections, why are we wasting time on that issue? And why are we entrusting the very individuals who sold out these last 25 years on implementing reforms and calling people to participate in flawed elections to champion our fight? I think we should be a lot smarter. After 45 years of rigged elections, the number one challenge is to end this case of rigged elections. We should focus on the number one task and not allow ourselves to be sidelined by peripheral issues. Mnangagwa would want the fight with him to be over the amendment of the constitution and not over stolen elections. Because he knows that after 45 years of rigged elections, he really has no excuse whatsoever for failing to implement democratic reforms to end the case of rigged elections. He has got no excuse whatsoever. This is where we should engage him. He will try his level best to draw us out from that to fight on another front. We should have the discipline to refuse to be drawn out and give up our moral high ground. Free, fair, and credible elections. That should be our basic demand, and we should not move an inch from it. Think about it. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.